Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. In today's video, I'm continuing my series on ranking my 100 favorite albums of all time. We are now in my top 50 albums, and in this video I'll be doing 50 through 41 on my list. Yeah, I got some new stuff here that wasn't on my last list. Definitely some hidden gem albums, some albums you're going to be a little surprised that are on here, like you probably have been on some of these other videos. I do have some surprises here. A couple of big ones I think a lot of people have on their list as well. So definitely covering a lot of 60s, 70s, and 80s on this video here. Anyway, so hopefully most part you'll be happy with what I picked here anyways. And again, I'm trying to go through this 100 favorite albums as quick as I can. It's hard though. I was working the last 3 nights, so I didn't get around to it. But also my friends Scott and Nick, Scott from Sattelites Studios, Nick from Townsend 505, they're doing their 100 favorite albums as well. So we're all kind of doing somewhat at the same time. Though I'm getting kind of behind, so I'm trying to get through this. Hopefully, I don't know if I'll get through the end of the year, but hopefully by January for sure, I'll get through this list. But anyways, besides that, yeah, let's get to my list. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well here on a Wednesday night. Yeah, again, very cold here in Kansas. It snowed for like 10, 20 minutes. It snowed this morning when I was at work, and then it disappeared. So that's more snow to come. It's getting to that time of year, unfortunately. But yeah, besides that, let's get to my next 10 albums that I put on this list. Yeah, definitely some new ones that weren't on before that I've discovered lately that I've fallen in love with, including this one, which is more of a recent discovery for me. Band I haven't delved too much into, but this is Double Vision by Foreigner. This at number 50 on my list. An album, and again, I bought this album at the used record store I always go to, and I like to buy my albums because it's cheaper. Just you don't know what they have. They don't have a big amount, but it's kind of cool. I found this and I was like, I don't know that much about Foreigner, except that I've listened to one album, that was 4. Their 4th album, 4, which I thought was actually really good. I actually quite enjoyed that album too. And so when I saw this, I said, Double Vision, okay, Double Vision. I don't know anything about the album. I know Double Vision. I know that song was a huge hit for them, one of their biggest hits. And so, I don't know, I just had a feeling like, I bet this is one of their big albums. So I bought it without even listening to it, just kind of a blind buy, because it wasn't very expensive, because it's a used record and all that. And I put it on, listened to it, and wow, I thought this was an absolutely fantastic album. Right away, on my first listen, I gave it 10 out of 10, which I don't do very often, but that's how much I was like enjoying every single song on this album. Was like, wow, this is just, and again, I don't know that much about Foreigner, but I'm like, definitely needed to check out more Foreigner. I know my friend Scott, he's a big fan of the band, and he has like 2 or 3 albums on his list as well anyways. But yeah, so yeah, Double Vision, man. This is their 2nd album, so yeah, only 2nd studio album even. I heard the first album's pretty good as well. I think it's a self-titled one. So, but yeah, this has 3 big, huge hits on it. Obviously the title song, Double Vision, which I would say is my favorite song on the album, and one of my favorite songs from Foreigner. Again, I'm just kind of, I've heard the name, it's like, I know the name, I'm sure I've heard the big hits, but I couldn't put 2 together. And so now I'm listening to this and I go, okay, now I got some of what their big hits are. And I've listened to like 4 and got some of the big hits off there. And I go, wow, Foreigner is a much better band than I ever gave them credit for, ever knew about. And yeah, Double Vision, man, what a great song. Super catchy. Again, I think it's a really great rock album. Like, yes, the songs are just really rocking. I think guitar playing's actually pretty excellent on here. The lead singer, again, I don't have the names on top of my head. Let's see, I think it's on here. Lou Gramm, the lead vocals, really good singing. I love his rock vocals. Mick Jones looks like he's the lead guitar player. Excellent guitar playing. Overall, yeah, keyboard, synthesizer, everything really good musically anyways on this. And like I said, every song was like, wow, this is pretty good too, being really great. Like Double Vision, Hot Blooded, another huge song on here. Not a song I've ever been too super crazy about, but still a really solid song. Another nice 80s or 70s rocker. This came out in 1978. I almost want to say Foreigner's an 80s band, but I guess they started out in the 70s here. Then the song I didn't remember until I was listening to it is Blue Morning, Blue Day. Whoa, what a great song. I was like, yeah, I've heard this song. That's her third hit on the album. And I know I looked them up and I didn't write it down, like, but I know those three charted very well. The album totally, I think, charted really well as well. I can't remember where it charted, but yeah, Blue Morning, Blue Day. I didn't even know that song really, except when I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, I've heard this on the radio. Blue Morning, Blue Day, come my way. Oh, super catchy. But this is one of those things where, man, I like good catchy rock tunes, and this is what this album is. It's full of catchy rock tunes. I mean, it has a couple of more slower songs on it. I really liked You're All I Am. I thought it was really good. And also I Have Waited So Long, some of the more deep cuts on here. But yeah, overall, definitely a band I need to delve into because I'm already like loving what I'm hearing from this album. Already made it to my top 50 as a new discovery. So yeah, there's Double Vision at number 50 on my list. 49, I don't have the album, and this is going to be somewhat a surprise. This is one of my favorite Kinks albums, and that is called Think Visual, which came out in 1986. It's their 22nd album. I mean, so it's crazy. When we went through Kinks, and this is towards the end of their discography, actually, because they only come out with like 24 albums or something like that. So yeah, this is towards the very end. And they started out in the 60s. They started in like 64. So, I mean, we're talking 22 years into their career, and they're still putting out, in my opinion, one of their best albums. And again, Think Visual doesn't get any really talk about or credit for the Kinks, even amongst Kinks fans. Don't talk about this album. And it's funny, and I was kind of new to the Kinks when we did the discography on Nick's channel. We went through the whole discography and all that. And so I really discovered a lot of music from the Kinks. I was just a little bit familiar with their 60s work, some of their big hits in like Lola in the 70s, I guess, but knew nothing of their 80s work. And man, they went through a bunch of ebbs and flows through their career and different genres, styles like that. But yeah, Think Visual really surprised me. I was expecting nothing out of this album, and I didn't hear like anybody say, oh, Think Visual is one of their best albums. And yet, this will surprise people. It's my second favorite Kinks album, and I give it a 10 out of 10, and people will probably think, what, Think Visual? Yeah, I like it better than Village Green Preservation Society. I like it better than Arthur. I like it better than Lola. I like it better than Face to Face, something else. All these albums everybody talks about is like the great Kinks albums. It's funny. I like those albums. Those are good albums. But Think Visual, I don't know. It was one of those albums where I liked every song. Like, it was like, and that's what gets me. I love an album where I'm like enjoying every song. There's some albums where it's like there's good highs, but there's really bad songs on the albums. And there's an album like Think Visual where there's some good highs on here, but it's just very consistently like good throughout the album. Like, I'm enjoying every song and not hating anything. And that's why, if you can do that, if you're consistent, you're gonna make it high on my list, I guess, in some ways. Not always, but for the most part, that helps. But yeah, like I said, there's no big hits on here, but definitely love some stuff like Killing Time, I believe was my favorite song on this album. It was like a top 10, maybe Kinks song when we did our Kinks ranking. I know it was definitely my top 20 favorite Kinks songs. But Killing Time, oh man, what a night. Again, this is more of a pop album, 80s like pop rock album. I don't know, I really like that style, I guess. This is, again, it just depends on what you like and, you know, what style of music you enjoy. And this is just the style of music I really enjoy. And that's why I like it maybe more than others. But yeah, Killing Time, what a wonderful kind of pop ballad song, whatever. Great chorus, the Killing Time. Oh, it's just really love the chorus, very catchy. Another song that I know was in my top like 20 Kinks songs is How Are You? Or it might have been my top 25, but it's very high on my list. I mean, compared to all the Kinks songs, I mean, 24 albums, a lot of Kinks songs. But How Are You is an absolutely excellent song. Another song, kind of like Killing Time, it's just, I love that chorus of How are you? How is it going? Something like that. It's very catchy. How is your life? Da, 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 da. It's just, super catchy chorus to it. And I just love the whole song. It's just about, you know, asking somebody, how are you doing? You know, how's your life? Like, you know, catching up with somebody. You know, I love that, all that about that song. Those two songs are, to me, very excellent, underrated hidden gem songs for the Kings. Love those two songs. But then I really like Rock and Roll Cities. Super catchy. Again, I love these catchy tunes. The Rock and Roll Cities, here we come. Oh, it's super catchy chorus, and it's all about just traveling and going to different cities. And they're a rock and roll band, so it's like kind of autobiographical about you don't know where you are, you're in a different city every night. Yeah, I loved it. It's very catchy. Even the very first song I believe was "Working at the Factory." Still very catchy, good intro, good opening to the album. Working at the factory, like very good rock vocals on there. Lost and Found, absolutely another excellent kind of pop song. Repetition, very good. Even the video shop is a little, it's definitely different. It's got like a, I don't know, I can't even say what kind of, it has an interesting beat to it, but it's catchy. The video shop, ba-bam-ba-bam-bam. Yeah, so every song was like either very catchy or just a beautiful kind of pop ballad. Yeah, love this album. Think Visual at number 49 on my list. Number 48, we're going to Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac has been like the huge discovery for me, which I discovered recently, just this last year, going through the whole discography. And we're almost done with it on SoundLab Studios, I believe. Or maybe, it might be Nick. It's probably Nick's channel. I forget whose channel we're doing it. But Nick from Townsend 505, I think we're doing it. And I think we only have one more album left, and we're done with that series. I kind of went on the series about halfway through, but ever since I went on series, I started with Fleetwood Mac, the first album with Buckingham and Nicks, and man, have you seen on my list? I have 6 albums anyways, and this is my second favorite Fleetwood Mac album. You can probably guess what my first is. It's the typical first favorite album, and that's pretty high on my list. But man, when you go through that Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, Mirage, even to like Tango in the Night, and then I love Time. I'm the only one who loves Time, but I love Time. Or Tusk, I forgot Tusk in there. Yeah, Tusk as well. All on my list, all very highly rated. I love their pop style. I love their vocals. I love the harmonies. I love the backing vocals are really excellent. Yeah, just a lot of really great, catchy pop tunes. But yeah, the Mirage here, I don't know if I even said what the album was, but the Mirage is here at number 48 on my list. Came out in 1982. This is their 13th studio album. So this is right after Rumors or Tusk. It might be right after Tusk. I think it's Rumors, Tusk, then Mirage. I mean, really great. That from Fleetwood Mac to Mirage. Oh my gosh, absolutely amazing. Or even Taking the Night, I guess you can say. But in Mirage, yeah, my second favorite Fleetwood Mac album. Again, I wasn't expecting much, except I heard this is a pretty good album. Obviously, Rumors, everybody knows that's going to be like the big hit album. But man, I love this period of the Fleetwood Mac, just this pop period with Nicks and Buckingham added to the list is so good. It has the biggest hit on here, I believe, is Gypsy, which is my favorite song on the album. One of my favorite Fleetwood Mac songs, sung by Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks is my favorite singer in the group. I'm always huge on her songs on these albums, and Gypsy is absolutely amazing. You probably know it's a big hit on the radio. Great pop song, great backing vocals, everything. I'm trying to think. I don't know if anything else was that. I think that's the only one that was a big hit off of here. But man, this is like when we listened to it, I was like, this is like the perfect. I was going through it going, I already given a couple 10 out of 10s. I'm surely no more 10 out of 10s, well, I gave Rumors 10 out of 10. I gave the other ones 9.5s. I'm like, surely this isn't going to be good as that. And then I listened to it going, no, this is another 10 out of 10 album. It's like a perfect pop album for me. And I think it's so well produced. Like the instruments sound amazing in it, and just the production value or whatever, the mixing, I don't know, it just sounded amazing. Like when I listened to that one, I was like, wow, this is like perfectly produced. Every song just had not just great, the vocal work, because you have Stevie Nicks or Christine McVie or Lindsey Buckingham lead singing. All three do an excellent job. And then there's just amazing harmonies throughout the whole album, some of the best that they've had. And I think the backing vocals really are killing it on this album. Like whoever's lead singing, and then they had the backing vocals come in. Oh man, just make this album so amazing. So at the end of the album, I was like, wow, this is like one of my favorite albums. But yeah, I love Can't Go Back is a great, I believe that was I'm forgetting on top of my mind, but I want to say that's a Buckingham song, but Can't Go Back is great. That's All Right. Again, I can't remember who sings all these songs, but Only Over You, great song. Straight Back, Hold Me, Wish You Were Here, and Love in Store, which I think was one of the first songs on the album, actually, which I think it might have been like a Buckingham. But anyways, I named a bunch of songs. I named almost every song on this album. Absolutely loved it. Loved their nice, catchy pop ballads. Loved their really beautiful, love their catchy pop songs. Love their beautiful ballads. McVie and Nick's so good at the ballads. Well, I like the versatility of having three different lead singers and writers in there. And Buckingham, a lot of times sings the more upbeat rockers, and he doesn't always hit with me, but he does some really good stuff here. And his guitar playing is absolutely fantastic. With all the whole instrumentation was great. I think drums, bass. I think this might be. I mean, like I said, this is my second favorite album. It's just one of the best I think ever done, in my opinion. So yeah, Mirage made it all the way to number 48 on my list by Fleetwood Mac. 47, another album I don't have, I really need. This is another one which I discovered this last year. Though I've heard this album, I've heard the name, heard this was a big album for them. Definitely another band I need to get into, but this is Escape by Journey here at number 47. Yeah, Escape, and I know it's like their big album, came in 1981. It's their seventh studio album, so they're pretty far. I don't know how many albums they have. I haven't gotten into them yet, but this is an album that was recommended to me. I can't remember who it was by. It might have been like Briar. I want to say Briar, maybe it was the one who recommended this album. Could have been Scott or Nick, I don't remember, but anyways. And so I was like, okay, I have to listen to this album. Everybody's recommending it, and man, I was blown away on first listen. Again, 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it, and it's got some huge hits on it. I mean, I would say it has like the two biggest hits of all time on this album. That alone was like, yeah, this is one of the greatest albums I've ever heard. I'd say it has about 3 pretty big hits on here from what I'm seeing. The biggest thing though, the opener is Don't Stop Believing. I mean, come on. One of the catchiest pop tunes from the 80s. So fun to sing along to. Don't stop believing. Hold on to your feelings. Steve Perry, oh my gosh, what a great lead singer. He has an incredible voice. Love his lead vocals on a lot of these songs. Like this one. It's just a catchy, and like boom, boom, that piano, boom, boom, whatever that. It was very catchy piano tune at the beginning. Oh yeah, it's just incredible melody. Yeah, one of the best of the 80s anyway. So you start with that and you're like, oh my gosh, you're starting with Don't Stop Believing, like maybe my second favorite Journey song of all time. And I'll just quickly go to close it. And then you close with Open Arms, which is my favorite Journey song. So you like open with my second favorite and you close with my favorite. And Open Arms is one of the greatest ballads of all time. One of the great love ballads. I mean, again, Steve Perry, amazing. That piano is so beautiful. And just that chorus, oh my gosh, and the build up to the, and here I am with open arms. Da, 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 da. Oh, so beautiful. And just, man, when it crescendos into that chorus, you're just like, oh my gosh, like, that's what music is about, you know, that kind of moments where like, yes, I want more of that. But yeah, so those two, just, it's one of the best opening closers I've ever heard on an album. And that alone made me go, wow, this has got to be up there for me. But yeah, it's another one where I'm like, I'm enjoying pretty much every song on here. Though I'd say I prefer more of the pop songs and the more ballads. But there's some really good rockers too. I think his name is Nick Schoen or something like that. Schoen, who plays guitar, incredible guitar player. Maybe not talked about enough, and I don't know a lot about him. I've heard about him being a really good guitar player. It's funny because I think of Journey as more of this ballad band, but then I forget they got some rock and guitar songs on here as well. And the guitar playing is just absolutely fantastic on some of those rockers. Lots of great guitar solos and all that. So yeah, so it's like, man, there's some really good rockers on this album and some great pop songs, some great ballads. You get it the best of all three, in my opinion. But I really love Who's Crying Now. It's a great song, which I think was another hit song for them. Escape, the title song, really great. And then Mother Father, I thought was a great song. I mean, I just named like just a couple of songs from the album, but again, I left off more of the rockers, so I'm not as big a fan of them, but still, they're very good stuff anyway. So yeah, Escape here at number 47 on my list. Number 46, again, don't have this album. Definitely need to get it. I used to actually own this album, but at one time when I was younger. I guess I'll go into that. But this is Recovering the Satellites back by Counting Crows. This came out in 1996. It's their second studio album, probably their most well-known and biggest album. The first album was good too. It didn't make my list. It made my list last time. It didn't quite get on my list August and everything after. Another absolutely excellent Counting Crows album I didn't put on here, but man, these first two albums are so good. But I have a real soft spot for this, I should say, or a lot of nostalgia for this one, because this was a second album I ever bought as a teenager on CD. The first album I'll get to at a later time. It's higher on my list, actually. My first two albums I bought on CD are on my list here, pretty high on my list. But yeah, and I bought this because I was a huge fan of the song Along December, which is my favorite song on here, my favorite all-time Counting Crows song. Yeah, that was all over the radio, and we're in December right now, so pretty good song to talk about right now. But yeah, Long December, I absolutely love that song when I heard on the radio. Again, 1996, I was like 13 years old. I was really into listening to the 90s rock and pop stations, and I listened to the oldies too, but I really got into this stuff as well. And yeah, when I first heard the song, I was like, wow, that's like one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. It was my favorite song of the year, I would say. Like, if I would go favorite song in 96, it'd probably be Long December. Yeah, it's very beautiful, like kind of piano, kind of ballad song. I love Adam Duritz. It's such a good singer. One of my favorite lead singers of all time. I've been talking about great lead singers here, and he's up there. Probably not one talked about enough, but man, he has an amazing voice. And man, this is just a beautiful song. I love the overall. There's like an accordion or something in the background that's absolutely beautiful. But it's just a beautiful ballad piano piece, which they're more of a rock, actually. They have some rockers here. They have some more, I would say, yeah, more of a rock band style. So this is definitely the only like real ballad I think on the album. And they don't do a lot of ballads, but man, this was absolutely excellent. And I just love that. It's been a long December, and it's there's reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last. I love that line, because I think every year I think that, because in December the year's almost over, and you think, oh my gosh, what a bad year. Hopefully next year's better. I think definitely since 2020, I thought that every year. I'm like, God, I hope next year's better. It's got to be better than this last year anyway. So I love that line, because I think of that every December. Anyways, but yeah, great song. And so based on that song, I bought this album back in 96 when I was like 13 years old. Yeah, I bought the album, I had the CD. I don't have it anymore. I lost it since then, but I need to rebuy that one at some point. But yeah, I remember I bought that, and like I only knew a couple. There's another. Well, this is the big hit song, Along December. There's another hit song called Angels of Silence as well that was on the radio, but that was the only big hits on it. But I bought it just because I loved Along December, and this is before iTunes or Spotify. It's like if you wanted to listen to a song, like you hear the radio or you bought the album. And so that's why I bought this album. But I love the whole album. I remember at the time listening to the whole album going, man, like I said, I love Adam Duritz's vocals. So good. His style of singing is so interesting, I think. It's just unique, I think. He has a unique style of singing. And even the songs themselves are uniquely written, I thought, where it's like they're very poetic at times. There's lots of good crescendos and all that. And some good rock guitar as well. Anyway, so yeah, I really loved the album at the time. And then, like I said, over the years, I kind of got rid of all my CDs, unfortunately, and just did, iTunes, and just burned CDs or whatever, or iPod. When I got an iPod, I just did iPod, music on iPod. But I say all that to say, yeah, so then fast forward to 2018, they were playing in Kansas City, and I bought a ticket, and it's the last live concert I think I ever went to, if I remember right. But I was like, man, when I saw Counting Crows and it wasn't too expensive a ticket, I thought, man, I had so much love and nostalgia for this album, because I owned it back when I was 13, that I was like, I gotta go see them in concert. So I went and got to see them in concert, and of course, I don't know if I ever talked to this on the show, but I bought like a cheap ticket way in the back. It's an outside concert at Starlight Theater in Kansas City. It's by the Kansas City Zoo. And it's a cool venue. It's outside concert. I've been to a couple concerts there. It's been a while, so I haven't been there since like 2018. I keep thinking I need to go back there. But anyway, so I went there. I was way in the back. I was by myself, and a guy came that worked there and said, "Are you by yourself?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You want a better seat?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "Well, what kind of question is that? Anyway, he gave me a seat that was like in the third row. Like I went from being way in the back to being like in the third row. It was one of the coolest things I've ever got to do, where I didn't have to spend a lot of money, and they put me. I think they wanted to make sure the first 5 rows or something like that were covered, because they want the band to think that there's a lot of people there, or they want to, or something like that. So they want to fill up those first several rows. And so, yeah, it was so cool. I was in the third row, and I was with all these big Counting Crow fans, that paid a lot of money to get into those rows. And it was like a VIP section. Like I had to get through like a different security to get in there. And I had to have a special, they gave me a special thing to have to show, like a band or something. Anyways, but yeah, that was so cool being so close to stage and getting to see Counting Crows play live. Now, they only played 2 songs on this album, which was Angels and Silences and Long December. Those are the only 2 songs they played here, I believe. So they didn't play a lot from this album, which is too bad because there's so many great songs here. But that was so cool, especially Long December. That was one of the greatest moments, getting to hear Adam Duritz sing that song live on stage. So amazing. Yeah, definitely a moment I remember for the rest of my life. So say that, yeah, this album is bigger for me than I feel like a lot of people because of the memories I have. But yeah, so that's why it's up here at 46, and it's a 10 out of 10 album. I said, Angel of Silence is a great rock. That's their biggest rock song. Like I said, they're kind of a rock band that does ballads as well as pop songs, but Angel of Silence is definitely their hardest rock song, and it's great. Like the guitar playing, oh my gosh, it's very fast playing, very hard rocking. Love Angel of Silence is probably my second favorite song on the album. I said those are 2 big ones. Catapult, I think, was the opener of the album. What a great song. Not a big hit or anything. Should have been like a hit song. It is so good, super catchy. Love his vocals on there. But I can say the whole album, the whole album is not a bad song. I'm enjoying every single song in here. But I'll say also Have You Seen Me Lately, Daylight Fading. Oh man, so good. It's like one of those albums where the only thing I would say is the album feels a little long. It's like 14 songs or something like that. I would love it if they would have cut it to 12, because I think it is kind of a long album. And I love every song, but still you do feel a little bit like it's a little lengthy. But like I said, I'm still giving it a 10 out of 10 because the quality of the songs, I think, are just absolutely excellent. One of the best 90s albums of all time for me is Recovering Sattelites by Counting Crows here at number 46 on my list. All right, number 45, we get to an album I actually own here, and one that most everybody knows and is on everybody's list, and that is Cosmos Factory by Creedence Clearwater Revival, or CCR. Yeah, number 45 on my list, came out in 1970. This is their 5th studio album. Like I say, I think this is a lot of people's favorite. This is my favorite CCR album. It's the only one that's on my list. Unfortunately, they only made 7 albums in a span of, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. They made 3 albums in 1969 alone. It's crazy, their production, but yeah, this is absolutely their masterpiece. Their 5th album. It's like a greatest hits. It has 8 radio hits on it, which is absolutely insane. It's probably up there as one of the albums with the most hits on it. It feels like that were on the radio. Yeah, so if you want to listen to CCR, if you've never gotten to CCR, man, definitely get this album because you're gonna get some of their greatest hits on here, and you'll see why they're considered a great rock band of the kind of late 60s into early 70s period. But yeah, of course, CCR, we got the great John Fogerty, one of the great rock vocalists of all time. I mean, he's just such a unique, no one sings like John Fogerty. He's just so unique in his rough kind of rocking vocal work that he does. And he does good on pop and ballads too at times. But man, his rock songs, so good, so iconic. And his guitar playing, he's also an amazing guitar player and some iconic guitar playing on here. But yeah, I can get to the album. I mean, for me, my favorite CCR song is on this album, and that is Up Around the Bend. I think it's just such a catchy rock number, very fast paced. I love the guitar, so iconic. Oh man, I love the guitar sound on here, and just even the drums kick in, and then Fogerty, man, just sings the heck out of the song. And just, I love that chorus. Up and around the bend, dun 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 dun. Ooh, and he does those. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know, it's just a catchy overall melody. Yeah, I love Up and Around Bend. Absolutely amazing rock song from CCR. But like I said, so many great stuff here. I mean, Looking Out My Back Door is another really fun song. Very catchy. Just talking about stuff he's making up, looking out the back door, and just that looking at my back door. Oh, so good. Who Will Stop the Rain? Oh my gosh, and one of my favorite. I think it's my second favorite song on the album, and one like a top five, another top five like Cosmos Factory song. I love when they sing about rain or the moon or whatever. It's like when they sing about the sky, incredible. Just that who will stop the rain? Like the harmonies are just amazing there. Yeah, just an amazing, amazing song. As long as I can see the light, like the last song on the album, wow, really great. Kind of almost ballad style song that ends the album, which is great as well. And a song I really love on this album, it gets some people like it, some people don't, and that is I heard it through the grapevine. I really enjoyed this version, even though it's like, I think it's like 11 minutes long. I usually don't like songs that are that long, but I think this is great, even though it's 11 minutes. My gosh, the groove is so good. The guitar playing, the bass line, Fogerty's vocals. Obviously, it's a cover from like Marvin Gaye. And my hot take is I like this version even better than Marvin Gaye's version, which is good as well. And everybody I've heard, I think, say Marvin Gaye's better, but I don't know. I'm just one of the weird ones where I'm like, I just love the bum 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 bum. That goes throughout the whole song. Is incredible, like bass, guitar riff, whatever. That just, man, once you start listening, when I hear it, I'm just like, man, I'm just banging my head. Like, I mean, not that it's a big rocker, but just hearing it, just go, oh man, I love this groove that goes throughout it. And then there's like several guitar solos that are just absolutely amazing by Fogerty. I mean, he's showing himself being, this is where you go, yeah, he's one of the great guitar players when you hear this song and his version of it. And then his vocals are amazing. So, I mean, you get everything on this song. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it being, like 4 minutes shorter, I'm sure it's a lot shorter if they had to put it on the radio, but still, and the drumming is excellent too. When they go that bum, 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 the drums do, 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 like the drumming is absolutely excellent. It's partly a jam song, which I usually don't like, but like I said, the jamming is so good. The guitar playing, the drums, oh my gosh. That's one where I can listen to that 11 minutes and be totally fine anyways. Yeah, absolutely love it. One of my favorite songs on the album. One of my favorite, actually, CCR songs is I Heard Through the Grapevine. Great cover. One of my favorite covers actually. But yeah, Cosmos Factory here at number 45 on the list. Another 10 out of 10 album. Let me get some water here. I forgot to open it up. All right, this next album is another album that I've talked about actually quite a bit on my channel. I love it more than probably anybody else. It's one of those where, I don't know, it's just one of those albums that it just really speaks to me, and that is Renaissance by The Association, which you might be thinking, what is this album? It comes from 1966. This is their second studio album. Came the same year as their first album, and Along Comes Association, which is another really good album. Didn't make my list. Their third album, Inside Out, did make it my list, lower on my list as well. But their first three albums are just absolutely fantastic. I mean, I give this a 10 out of 10. I give the first album a 9. I give the third album a 9.5. So all three albums are just amazing. Two of them are my top 100 favorite albums. And Long Comes Mary is pretty close. It's so good. What's interesting about this is the second album, and I like these are all the members, but we recently went through all the Association albums on Nick's channel. Again, we went through a whole deep dive on them. Definitely a band I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on, of course, on my own channel. But man, I just absolutely love the Association. I feel like it's just an underrated band that doesn't get talked about a lot because they don't have like a lot of huge hits. They only have 4 like huge hits. All 4 songs are amazing though. I love all 4 of their hits. 2 on the first and 2 on the third album. But even going through their whole discography, like their first 3 are really excellent. I think their 4th album, Birthday, is really good as well. Then they have a couple of not so good albums. But then like their last album, I think is actually quite good. I really enjoyed I forget, it has kind of a weird name, but I even like the last album. So there's actually a lot of good stuff here. They only have like 7 or 8 albums, if I remember right. I think 7. So not a lot of albums, but anyways. But if you don't know the Association, like you probably know, again, songs that aren't on this album, but you probably know Along Comes Mary, Wendy, Cherish, and Never My Love. Those are the big songs that are on the radio and on the oldie station. All 4 excellent, but if you heard those songs, you know what their sound is, and that is they have they're kind of in the folk rock kind of movement there in the mid 60s, but they definitely have very poppy. They're very sunshine pop, you know, type, very upbeat kind of pop music and great ballads. They don't really do a lot of rockers, and when they do, I don't like it as much. But when it comes to pop songs, they can write some really excellent pop music, and their ballads are absolutely fantastic. And they are some of the best harmonies you'll ever hear on a band or an album. Yeah, I love their harmonies, and I love bands with great harmonies, and that's why I love this album so much, and why it's so high on my list. And no one else probably has this high on their list like I do. It's like one of those things where that's just my own personal taste. I love this type of music, and yeah, it's just really catchy pop music with just amazing harmonies. What I love is there's 6 members here, so it's a pretty good sized band, and I'd say, like, you know, and pretty much 4 or 5 of the, I say definitely 4. I think even the 5th, the drummer even sings sometimes, but you have like 4 really good singers, which is incredible. You have 4 guys that can write and lead sing. I mean, that's unheard of. You don't ever hear a band that has that many really good writers and lead singers. So I love the variety of, like, each song you hear a different singer, and they're all great in their own right. I'm forgetting. Yester is my favorite. Jim Yester. Jim Yester usually writes my favorite music because he writes some great ballads usually, which I'm not even sure which one he is on here, but I think that's him there, Jim Yester. But yeah, but they're all great. I mean, Gary Alexander on guitar, Terry Kirkman, and let's see, Russ G, I call him. Great stuff from them anyways on here. But yeah, I guess I'm talking a lot about them. But the album itself, like I said, has one of my favorite songs on it that's not a hit, and that's called No Fair at All. No Fair at All, you gotta check that song out. It is my second favorite Association song. And yeah, it's just, and I discovered this album like 3 years ago and fell in love with that song. It's just a beautiful ballad with some of the best harmonies I've ever heard. When they go into that chorus, no fair at all, no fair at all. When they hit those high notes with the harmonies surrounding it, there's a really nice flute solo in here, and they do a lot of flute solos on their songs. Love that. Love the flute solo on there. But man, it's just a beautiful song. I just love it so much. I can't talk enough about that. But yeah, definitely should have been a huge hit for them. Again, there's no huge hits on here, no fair at all. And everybody I've talked to that I keep, everybody I meet, I'm like, you gotta listen to this album, it's so good. I got everybody in my group to listen to it pretty much, and they all agree No Fair at All is their favorite song on it. So I don't think I'm alone on that. Besides that, there's so much good stuff here. I'm the One, the opener. Oh, so great. Me and Nick really love this song. We always talk about it because I love the vocal work on it. It goes, I'm the one who's at your door. Like, oh, I love how he sings it. I'm the one. Like, I don't know, the way he sings it is so cool. It's super catchy. Actually, my second favorite song on here, and one of my top like 5 songs on the Association, is Memories of You. It's super catchy pop song. Memories of You. Bum, bum, bum. And the harmonies, of course, da, da. Oh, great harmonies, but that catchy chorus, oh my gosh, so great. And I can say again, like, every song is great on here, I think. But You Hear Me Call Your Name, another great one. And then the closer, Another Time, Another Place, is another like top 10 Association song. There's like 3 songs on here that made my top 10. But I love the Another Time, Another Place, ba bum ba bum ba. Just a really nice, upbeat, catchy. The chorus has, everybody comes in on the chorus with the great harmonies. Nice, more upbeat, catchy song. But yeah, can't talk enough about the Renaissance. I want everybody listening, listen to this album, listen to No Fair at All. It's amazing. So underrated. All right, number 44. Number 43, now I got an underrated album from my favorite solo artist, and that is Pipes of Peace by Paul McCartney, from 1983, the year I was born. One of my favorite from that, maybe my favorite album from this time, from when I was born. But yeah, this is not talked about a lot. This is Paul McCartney. It's his 4th solo album, but that's not counting all the Wings albums he did, of course. So it's definitely more than just his 4th solo. But Yeah, this came out, yeah, it said 80s. So we got through all the 70s, which is kind of his big period. A lot of his big albums, it feels like, come from the 70s period. So, and there's still some great stuff in the 80s, but it feels like maybe this period that people don't appreciate it enough. And I'm a huge Paul McCartney fan, of course. If you see my channel, I'll talk about him quite a bit. Of course, I'm a big Beatles fan, all that, but love Paul McCartney's solo work. I think I got 5 of his albums on my top 100 here. And yeah, this is probably much higher than anybody would ever expect. Number 43 on my list. Again, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, this is always low. Anytime I see someone ranking Paul McCartney albums, this is usually kind of low on the list. And I'm always like, why? What are they hearing that? What am I hearing that they're not hearing? I think this is absolutely excellent, like pop album. Of course, we got the 2 songs. We got 2 duets with Michael Jackson on here. Both are actually quite good. I'm not like a big Michael Jackson fan, but I quite enjoy their duets here. Sorry, the big one is Say. Yeah, really catchy. Love the vocals. And Michael had some really good vocal work on the song. But the say, do what you want. Anyways, super catchy pop song with the 2 singers. Of course, this is coming right off of Tug of War, I believe. And Tug of War had a duet with Stevie Wonder, and that was a huge hit, the Ebony Ivory song. So I think that's why they got Michael Jackson on here, because like, wow, Paul McCartney, doing a duet with another great singer seemed to work. So let's do it again with Michael Jackson. I think it worked really well on here as well. Like I said, that was a pretty big hit. I mean, I say big hit. I think that was kind of a hit song on here. Also, The Man, another duet with Michael Jackson, is also quite good. Yeah, love both songs actually from the duo. I think this gets criticized because these are kind of songs that were written while they're doing Tug of War. And these are kind of songs left over, basically, like they didn't get on that album. So I think a lot of people think this is like, oh, this is just leftover songs that weren't good enough for the other album. And I disagree. I love this album a lot more than Tug of War. And Tug of War is a decent album, but I really love this album. And yeah, these songs are really great, I think, very underrated. Like those 2 are really good. The Other Me is, oh man, what an excellent song. I love just the idea behind the song of like he's saying, there's like 2 of me. There's the me that makes mistakes and makes a fool of himself, and then he refers that as to the other me, the other me, bum bum bum. Very catchy pop song, but I love the writing of it going, but that's not me. I'm really, a nice, good person. But then there's the other me that makes mistakes or whatever. So I love the writing on that. So Bad. Oh man, very high vocals for Paul McCartney, but I love it. It's a nice kind of very love song ballad type song, kind of pop ballad, I love you so bad. Oh, I love you. Like his high vocal work, so good on this song. And man, it's just a beautiful song. And one of my favorite underrated Paul McCartney songs, I think it's maybe the closer even, is Through Our Love. Is an amazing love song, kind of pop ballad as well. But man, I love the chorus. When it's through our love, we can make bum 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 bum. Through our love. Some good harmonies on there as well with the rest of the band. But it is an excellent pop song that kind of builds. It kind of starts soft, and then more instruments are added. So I love the build of the song. It's one of my favorite, to be honest, it's one of my favorite Paul McCartney songs, Through Our Love. So crazy, it was never a big hit. It should have been. It's an amazing song. Like I said, yeah, so because of that, it has some amazing just deep cuts on this album. I just fell in love with this album, Pipes of Peace. Underrated gem, one of my favorite Paul McCartney albums here, number 43. Number 42 is my favorite. We went from Paul McCartney, now we're going to another Beatle, and this is my favorite John Lennon album. I have 2 albums on my list. The other one was Mind Games, but this one is Imagine. It's probably somewhat typical, probably favorite album of John Lennon's. Probably his biggest album, biggest hit album, for sure. But yeah, absolutely love this album. I believe this is second album. I mean, first album was decent. I liked the first album okay. It's a little too emotional at times. I feel like, or too raw emotions, dealing with his past. But this is just a perfect, again, I would say perfect like pop album. There's some good rockers on here, but mostly it's just a great pop ballad album. And John just killing it on vocals, his songwriting. Man, just what an excellent album to, break up from the Beatles, and then you put out to me, one of the great albums. Here at number 42, another, I give it 10 out of 10. The only problem, I think it was actually higher on my list last time. It's a little bit lower, though it's still like a 10 out of 10 album. Because the highs are so high. I will say there's the Soldier song, I will admit, is not, it drags out, it's long, not particularly good, and it seems like it just repeats itself, if I remember right. I don't want to be a soldier or whatever. So there's like one or two songs that are not great on this album, but it doesn't hurt the fact that it has some amazing tunes. My favorite song actually is Jealous Guy. Jealous Guy is my favorite John Lennon song and favorite on this album. Oh, what a great song. Again, I don't know if it was a huge hit, but man, definitely, if it's not talked about enough, it should be talked about more. Such a great piano. Lots of great piano on this album, which you don't think of John Lennon as a piano guy. But just that, I've been dreaming of the past. Just that opening line. I'm just a jealous guy. And I just love the writing of it too. It's just kind of talking about, sometimes I do things because I get jealous. And kind of like almost like he's maybe apologizing to Yoko or something. Like, yeah, sometimes I'm the jerk. Sometimes I get mad. And it's because I'm a jealous guy. And so it's very introspective, I feel like, and all that, but just a beautiful kind of ballad. Vocally amazing. I just love the song, Jealous Guy. So good on here. Another song that's kind of maybe an underrated song that's great is How, with a question mark. Another just great piano ballad. I love that. He kind of goes a cappella, or just him singing, how do I, bum, 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 bum. And the piano comes in, bum, 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 bum. Like, oh, I love when piano comes in. Beautiful, another good piano piece. That builds up pretty good, but again, vocally so good. Again, almost nothing like you really hear from the Beatles. It's like, wow, he just like, he was more of a rocker, it felt like, with the Beatles, and then you get this album, and you're like, man, he's a great ballad pop singer as well. But yeah, How is such a great song here. And of course, I haven't talked about the big song on here. Imagine, obviously, is the biggest song on here. It's his most well-known, biggest hit song that everybody knows. And it is a beautiful song. I think the piano is so good on there. Dun, 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 like that beginning part, dun, 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 dun. Like, really great piano playing. And overall, his vocals are great. And, it's a great melody. The only problem is lyrically, I'm not a fan. It's just a very hippie, hey, let's all just get together song, and I feel like it's been taken over by liberals nowadays, where all the liberals love using the song and singing the song. There's this big, I remember a couple of years ago, maybe during COVID, there was this viral video or something on YouTube where all these celebrities were singing Imagine, and I was just like, it just ruined the song kind of. So I hate that part of the song. And like I said, lyrically, I don't like the opening line of imagine there's no heaven, imagine there's no religion. And being someone who's a religious, a Christian, who definitely believes in heaven, because, I mean, come on, everybody dies and you want to go to heaven, right? So you better want to believe there's a heaven. You want to believe that you're going to heaven. And there's one way to go to heaven, of course, believing in Jesus Christ, your Savior. So I feel very, deeply about that. Like, yeah, there's a heaven and there's a religion, there's a God. And thank goodness there is, because, man, what is this life? What is the purpose of this life if there's not a heaven afterwards? Anyways, that's a little going on a rant there, but that hurts the song a little bit. That's why it's not one of my favorite, but I will take credit. It is a great sounding song. I also like Cripple Inside. It's kind of a fun song as well. And Oh My Love is another beautiful love ballad. Very underrated. Not talked about enough on here. And then How Do You Sleep? I mean, it's actually a really good rocker. Again, lyrically, it's pretty wrong, because it's obviously a diss song of Paul McCartney. He got upset because Paul McCartney wrote on Ram a song called Too Many People, which he thought was a diss to him. So he decides, I'm gonna write this huge diss song. And what a diss song, even saying stuff like the only good thing he ever wrote was Yesterday, which is obviously not true. He wrote so many great songs. But it was just, he was angry, and he said a lot of things I think he regrets later on that he shouldn't have written in there. But it is a really catchy rocker. I actually really enjoyed the song. Even though lyrically it's like, wow, what are you doing, John? Anyways, yeah, enough said. Number 42, Imagine. Great album. All right, one more album to talk about. Number 41. And we're going to one of my favorite bands. one of my favorite albums from them. That is Queen's News of the World. Yeah, had to get this in here. Man, another amazing album. Therefore, again, this is like my fourth favorite album from Queen at number 41. So I got 3 more Queen albums to talk about. This run of albums they had, starting with Night at the Opera, Day of the Races, News of the World, Jazz. That's my 4 favorite albums right there. And man, incredible run of albums with a lot of their biggest hits as well. And just, man, what I can say about Queen, just one of the greatest rock bands of all time, the greatest frontman of all time, Freddie Mercury, one of the greatest guitar players, and Brian May. I mean, so many catchy tunes. You open with We Will Rock You. I mean, one of my favorite rock songs of all time. One of my favorite Queen songs as well, like a top 5 Queen song for me. It's short, but man, does it rock. I mean, and you got it's so unique, the stomp and the claps, and just Freddie, no guitar, nothing, just Freddie a cappella with the beat of the stomp and claps. What an interesting way to do it. But man, he rocks that vocals. Buddy, you're something, da 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 da. Be a big man someday. Mud on your face, you big disgrace. Kicking your can all over the place, singing we will. And just those doom, 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 doom. I love it. And then the guitar comes in and hits like one of the greatest rock guitar solos of all time. I absolutely love that guitar solo in there. It's short, but it's amazing. But anyways, love We Will Rock You. Just an iconic song. And then you get We Are the Champions, another song that's in my top 10 favorite Queen songs. The best song to ever sing after you win a championship. I mean, come on. Who hasn't sung the song after you won a championship? I mean, for me, I've watched Chiefs win 3. I've watched the KU Jayhawks win 2 in my life. And I've seen the KC Royals win 1. And even in my own life, like I've been a part of a championship basketball team once when I was in junior high. And yeah, I remember every time we win something, they play the song and you sing along to it. What a great sing-along song. We are the champions, my friend. Perfect song for winning. But there's some really good, those are like the 2 really big hits, but there's some really good deep cuts. That's what's so great about this album. If I didn't say this was their 6th album overall, by the way, came out in 1977. But Spread Your Wings, incredible deep cut. I would say hidden gem song. Very catchy, great vocals from Freddie. I really like Get Down, Make Love. Is a really good rock song. Get Down, Make Love. Oh, I don't know, Get Down, Make Love. It seems a little aggressive, but it's a good rock song. I really enjoy it. And then It's Too Late. Oh, another song I absolutely love, that chorus. It's late, it's late, it's late, but not too late. Another just great, catchy pop song, rock pop song from the band. Yeah, it's definitely considered one of the greats for good reason. It's one of my favorite here, number 41. News of the World by, it's hard because I know it's supposed to be like this, but it's hard because it's, what a great cover too. Probably my favorite Queen covers, album cover as well. But yeah, News of the World, they're number 41. So those are the 10 albums for this list. Hopefully next week I'll get down to my top 40 albums, start with that there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my my analysis of these albums. Well, tell me if you heard some of these albums, what do you think? Yeah, definitely comment what are your favorite albums from here, what you like. Love to hear any comments from you guys. Always enjoyed that. And besides that, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking it. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate all of you and I hope you have a good day.